Welcome back everybody. This video is about my plans for 2023. Hope you all had a lovely winter break. I've been using this time to think about what I want from this year based on what happened last year and the year before. Just trying to be reflective, and I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. So to start, I obviously don't advertise my Patreon that much. I only mention it at the end of my videos because I always felt like there was something missing. So obviously this year I want to rework it so I can be more proud of it and hopefully offer a bit more value. So the first thing I want to do is obviously make a Discord server and offer my patrons, access to secret areas of the Patreon to create smaller community within that community. And that, I'm hoping, will mean that I get to talk to my patrons more because I've found that obviously the years I've been using Patreon is that people tend to talk for maybe maximum 2 months and then they go silent. And I'm hoping that by using something like Discord will mean that it's a platform that they use more often, and means that I can more easily check in with them, and that they can send files across. There'll be more people in the server to share it with as well, so it won't just be me and them on this alien platform. Another reason I want to set up the Discord is that I want to play more people's games and provide in-depth feedback, like how I had the feedback sheet for my game. I want to give you guys a template and let you understand my thought processes of what questions to ask and why, so that you can ask the right questions to your players, and also have someone like me who you can almost rely on to play your game when no one else will. Yeah, so by having the Discord server, having that small community, I'm hoping that there'll be more than just me there to provide the feedback, while with Patreon, it's very one-to-one. I've never set up a Discord server before, so there may be some unforeseen issues that make it more difficult than I imagined. So obviously things will have to be addressed when we come to them. But I want the idea of me playing and testing your games to be baked into a tier. Currently I have the development demos, or prototype demos, which I put in the thing saying that every 2 months I try to do it. But I've realized that that's not possible for me. So obviously by having this idea of me actually testing and playing your game as part of the thing every month, I think that would be a great way to swap that out. So yeah, alongside me playing your game, I want to also provide materials such as the feedback sheets and the game design documents, along with maybe template social media posts. So basically I want to be able to give you template stuff that means that you don't have to start from scratch when you're trying to share the game and receive feedback and even plan your game. I basically just want to aid you on your development journey, rather than giving you the template game and then you making your game from it. I would prefer that everybody's game is a piece of them rather than a piece of me, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, if I obviously do make a game worth being a prototype, I will obviously still give that to that tier and all the tiers higher than it, because there are some examples like the gallery where it's so simple that a newcomer might appreciate having something so simple to start, right? Just like the sample project that GB Studio comes with. So moving on to my channel more generally, you may have noticed I stopped uploading as much, and that's for many reasons. I don't want to get into them too much, but I felt like I was making less games and not really moving forward as a developer. So I know most people watch my tutorial videos, although it's the videos where I'm talkative like this one that I actually enjoy making the most. And with the release of GB Studio 3, when that came out, there was a huge shift, because almost all of my previous videos were suddenly not that useful anymore. There were so many people who were getting shown GB Studio 3, coming to my channel, and so I was obviously excited about GB Studio 3 as well, and I made some videos that were some of the most popular videos on my channel from that time period. But I realized that everything else before that was, it wasn't that relevant, right? So I'm fearing that that will happen again with GB Studio 3, that there'll be another, release that makes most of my videos meaningless. And I would prefer to offer tips to way of thinking about design, more broadly, and my experiences with, for example, burnout and generating ideas, because they'll be more relevant and meaningful because they're personal, right? So I'm hoping that you guys will be happy if I'm happy, but I understand that there might be people who really, really rely on me for their tutorials, and I'm hoping that there is enough information in those old tutorials to provide like a foundation. Because if not, then it's such a shame of those old videos to be worthless, right? And I do feel like I'm repeating myself when I'm making tutorials, because most tutorials overlap in some kind of way, and the fact I did it in GB Studio 2 meant that I'm just repeating myself. It's not that fun repeating yourself, right? But yeah, when I received feedback from the Rosebud and the Bicycle, I realized that my game was very basic and not that interesting, and the graphics were basically Pokemon's graphics, but obviously had more color because it wasn't Pokemon Red, it was more like Pokemon Crystal, where there's color, right? And obviously it had a different architectural scale, so the houses are bigger, and it kind of is a more bigger world, but it doesn't really change much, right? But basically I haven't fully processed everybody's feedback, because some people basically had exactly what I said there, where they said it wasn't that visually interesting, but at the same time, like the 1 to 5, the artwork was either 5 or 4, meaning it looked good, right? So what I really am trying to get to here is that I felt as though my art style wasn't that interesting and didn't really warrant me like spending hours and hours making making that small prototype into a full game, if it wasn't even a part of me, it was just copied from Pokemon, right? But the main thing is I want to make more unique games, both visually, design-wise, and possibly story-wise. The problem with making a video every week and trying to link the game into it is that if I'm making a story game, then I'm spoiling the story, right? It also takes like a day out of my time, right? So it's like 20% of the work week is like basically gone to making a video about it. So it's kind of a hard balance, especially since if I would want to sell the game, I wouldn't really want to be making a tutorial about everything. I would want to be making promotional materials in a way. So yeah, I want to make less tutorial videos this year because I want to focus on games. I've also been thinking about making more homebrew product or game reviews, like videos on this channel. And I'm hoping that, by also having the Discord Patreon, I can play my patrons' games and, talk about them. Like I did, I don't know if it was the start of last year or even the year before, I was like playing games and almost like critiquing them, thinking about, what made them good and how and why the developer might want to change something about it or why they shouldn't. I think that would be less demanding for me and actually more valuable for the community as a whole, because I understand that there are actually developers that are way better than me, and I'm just happen to be one of the only ones who is posting videos about, stuff, so people come to me. It's a shame that there aren't more developers making videos. I really wish, I was part of this huge sphere of GB Studio developers on YouTube. And I have seen a few pop up, but obviously not as prolific as I had been the years before this. And I understand why, because it's quite hard. So lastly, I'm going to talk about the games I want to make. And obviously I've put the Rosebud and the Bicycle on hold for now, because obviously the art style is kind of holding me back. I'm not a writer as well, and writing the stories didn't really feel natural for me. So I've gone back to Take It Racing 2. You might have seen I posted a tweet on Twitter about how I've started rethinking and reworking everything, and that my development supporters on Patreon have received a very early access demo, of Take It Racing 2, and I will be uploading a video about Take It Racing 2 hopefully either this week or next week. I've been testing it on my Game Boy Advance here with the Easy Flash Junior, and I'm almost at the point where I don't think there are any bugs in the demo, and the cars and stuff is interesting enough that I can see it being put into a full game quite easily. And that's a big difference between almost every other game I've made as a demo recently, is that I haven't seen it, I haven't been able to visualize it as a final product. So I'm very happy about that for Take It Racing 2. So thinking about that as well, I would love to officially release it with a publisher this year. And obviously that would make some great videos and great tips on Patreon, and just overall hopefully grow me as a developer rather than just the tutorial guy. I also want to participate in more game jams. If you don't know, the first Take It Racing game was as part of a game jam. It was a 1-week game jam, I think. And I think I would try to make games like that again, where it's not about, moving around like Pokemon or Zelda. It's more about menus and stats. That's the kind of stuff I like. And so to wrap up, I want to thank my patrons. It always means so much to me that there are people wanting to support me from these videos. I obviously wish it was more about my games rather than my tutorial videos, but I completely understand the value in them, and I'm not going to cease them completely. I can understand that there will be times where I can make tutorial videos with stuff I've done, and I'll probably sprinkle tutorials throughout my videos because it's kind of natural for me to want to talk about stuff once I have it in front of me. But I still want to help you make great games, and I think by having a Discord community where we can play each other's games, give feedback, I can provide you with some template documents, for example, for the feedback sheets and the game design documents, and even social media posts. I think that will be a great way of moving forward. I'm currently putting together the feedback sheet, and so that I want that to be up either this week or next week. That'll be on my Patreon through the demo prototype tier, which I'll end up renaming. So I want to thank you again for watching. Remember to like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what you thought of this and what you might want to see next in the comments below. I want my next video to actually look at Take It Racing 2's changes. So stay tuned, and I'll see you then.